In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy.
That's our president, a tour de force State of the Union address. He absolutely dunked on anyone, that mainstream media, who claims he's not with it, not up to the job, or too old. By the way, I love it when he says, not a joke. I think it's so cute. Then we have the Republicans' choice to lead our nation again. And remember, they had primaries. They had other options. But this is their guy.
Maduro, Venezuela, it's unbelievable that we talk. This is a positive swamping. I was going to the border, doing a show, Sean Hannity, good man Sean Hannity. Gavin Newsom, the new scum, the governor of California, will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers. We'll repeat your... Anytime I start talking, they take the red light off. You heard the hostages singing. That was the hostages. They're the J6 hostages, I call them, because they are. I'm being indicted for you. I am. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. He stinks. That's not the kind of people. You know, being a prosecutor is a very... Look, he can't campaign. He can't speak. So we call it migrant crime. I came up with that name because I come up with a lot of good names.
It is so disturbing to listen to his incoherent ramblings. It sounds like he's, I don't know, in the John. He's like groaning, grossly mixed in with his constant barrage of hate speech and lies. President Joe Biden or criminal defendant and adjudicated rapist Donald Trump. Those are our choices, America, for the highest office in the land. They both have track records, so we know what we're getting into. Voting for Joe Biden should quite frankly be the easiest decision you ever have to make because, well, I'll let the brilliant Rachel Maddow lay it out for us.
So pick one, right? Pick one. That's your choice. Pick one. I mean, you have lots of grounds on which to choose. They have also, both been president, which is a rare thing you get to choose from among presidential candidates. But that lets us compare them, right? In the past 3+ years that Joe Biden has been president, we've got unemployment below 4%. Best job market since, depending on you count, the 1960s. Violent crime at nearly a 50-year low. The United States has had the best economic recovery since COVID of any large country in the world. The stock market has hit record after record. More Americans have health insurance than ever before. He's standing up against Putin, who's one of the least popular figures in the world with American voters. He's fighting for reproductive rights, which is something even red state voters say they want, while Republicans are stripping those rights aggressively everywhere. He's cutting student loan debt while Republicans are trying to stop him from doing that. He has brokered and signed the biggest bipartisan infrastructure deal ever in the history of the country. Unions have never been more popular in my entire lifetime, and I'm old, and he's the first president ever to join the picket line with striking auto workers who then won their strike and then endorsed him. His Democratic Party has outperformed the polls and outperformed history in the midterms and in all of the off-year elections since he has been president. While on the other side, his opponent has been indicted 91 times. And don't forget that his opponent was just president right before this, which we remember. And even if we don't, in the 3+ years that he's been gone from the White House, we have learned some real doozies about what exactly was going on there.
The new photos released showing boxes of documents stashed in a ballroom, even a bathroom at his Mar-a-Lago home. The indictment saying among the classified documents found in the boxes, information about U.S. nuclear programs.
I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the effing mags away.
A $2 billion investment that former President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, secured last summer from a fund led by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia has raised questions about the ethics of post-White House business dealings.
So we're back with Cassidy Hutchinson. Cassidy, what was Mark Meadows burning every day?
Yeah, I wish I knew Nicole. There were several times I would walk into Mark's office and I would see him putting papers into the fireplace.
Eventually it culminated, the long break, simmering break between he and myself in June of 2020 when he wanted to deploy active duty troops on the street of Washington, D.C. and suggested actually that we shoot Americans in the streets.
He suggested that we deploy active duty troops in Washington and shoot Americans in the streets, says his defense secretary.
And don't forget that the Trump White House was a pill mill. An inspector general report discovered that controlled substances like Xanax, fentanyl, ketamine, just to name a few, were handed out like candy by the White House Health Clinic under Candyman Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who now serves as a MAGA congressman. The same people who have made Hunter Biden's life hell over his addiction and recovery are supporting a veritable presidential trap house. The Republican hypocrisy is on full display.
I heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
The choice we have this November is truly an existential one. It really is. I know we've heard this before. But the fact is, America is no longer a truly functioning, healthy democracy. It's not. In 2021, America slid 11 points from a previous score of 94 on the democracy scale down to 83, where it has remained for the last 2 years as ranked by the Freedom House, a democracy watchdog group. To give you an idea, we lag behind other democracies like the United Kingdom, Chile, Costa Rica, and Slovakia. We have one chance to save ourselves this November. One. Yep. Across the board, in every race, in every space across America, because if Trump and the Republicans regain full power, this is what life will look like here.
All right, picture this. America is at war, except it's not World War III, and we have no allies reaching out to help because we've abandoned NATO. The National Guard is patrolling big cities, blue cities in particular, doing things like rounding up the homeless. Kids are once again separated from their parents in mass deportations. Everything is more expensive, much worse than it is now, thanks to new taxes on foreign goods. The air you breathe is heavy, and it hurts your lungs because we've abandoned all efforts to curtail fossil fuel emissions while we drill. Disinformation has effectively wiped out the remnants of real journalism. The U.S. Constitution has been chewed up and spat out. Donald Trump is our president again. This is not an exaggeration. It is not fear-mongering, nor is it a series of my assumptions. That picture I just painted is based on what Donald Trump has already done, has tried to do, or has openly promised to do with a second term as the leader of this nation. We do not have to imagine a world like this. We just have to believe Trump. Take him at his word when he says the quiet parts out loud.
And as Moses, Mike Johnson smirked and looked somewhat constipated sitting behind President Biden during the State of the Union address, here are all the issues that he and his fellow Republicans refused to cheer for: supporting IVF, ending cancer, raising teacher pay, defending democracy, and securing the border. There was nothing the Republicans could stand and agree to in Biden's incredible speech. They refused to agree that Putin is a global threat. Look, in full transparency, and I feel like we have to talk about this, I have been personally very upset with the way the Biden administration has handled the Israel-Gaza situation, but I have let the White House know in multiple emails, and President Biden is fully aware of the sentiment of millions of Americans who are extremely concerned about the humanitarian disaster in Gaza, and he's listening. Here he is caught on a hot mic after the State of the Union address, saying so to Senator Michael Bennet and two of his cabinet members. Listen in.
Great speech. Really nice. I was telling your secretary, I was in Jordan and Israel this weekend, and just, we got to keep pushing what you're doing on the humanitarian stuff and all this stuff. So I told him, maybe somebody can
Sir, just that was good.
In case you couldn't hear the sound, President Biden is telling Senator Bennett, as well as Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, that he is going to have a come to Jesus meeting with Bibi Netanyahu. And not a moment too soon, in my opinion. This is a president who is listening to his constituents. This is a president who has expanded affordable health care for millions of us, who has created more jobs than any other president besides Bill Clinton. The February jobs report just came in. It was another home run. This is a president who cares about the air we breathe and the water we drink. President Biden called out the Supreme Court to their faces about what they did to reverse women's rights.
There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
And I don't know about you, but for me as a woman, that was just an incredible moment. Like, you hear us and you feel our pain. We do not get a do-over in this next election. It's not an election that you can just sit out or whatever. This election, everything is riding on it. How millions of us show up to the polls in each race across every state and federal election in the fall will set the course of our future in America. We get to choose. We get to use what we have of democracy to make our voices heard. And it should be the easiest choice you ever have to make. Please share, like, and comment on this video and send it to somebody who's on the fence. Or I have a few friends who are saying they're not going to vote. We have to lay out the stakes of this, that life will never be the same if Donald Trump gets back into the White House. Our literal freedoms are on the line. Every voice needs to count while we still have our voices to count in a democracy. My name is Suri Crow. Thank you for joining me here today. I hope to see you back here very soon, and I wish you peace.